2015, this Prime Minister said, quote, sunlight is the best disinfectant. In 2019, he is blocking the former Attorney General from sharing all the facts about his interference in a criminal prosecution, including what was said and done when he removed her from that position. On February 7th, he said the claims that he, his staff and officials pressured her were, quote, false. On February 12th, he said that no one, including her, raised any concerns, but all the evidence shows otherwise. Why won't the Prime Minister end the cover-up and tell Canadians the truth?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, to ensure that Canadians can hear the truth is exactly why the Prime Minister waived solicitor-client privilege as well as cabinet confidence. Mr. Speaker, for Canadians that are watching that might not recognize what kind of an essential step that was to having these documents be public, I would like to say that from the history of our country since Confederation, cabinet ministers are sworn by cabinet confidence, cabinet secrecy, so that whatever happens in cabinet stays in cabinet. To ensure that witnesses could appear and put this information into the public, the Prime Minister waived such measures. So he waived the cabinet confidence as well as solicitor-client privilege to make sure.
Member for Lakeland.
But he hasn't fully waived confidentiality, and the Liberals have shut down 2 committee investigations and are withholding documents to a paper until after the next election. Top officials have resigned, and yesterday in question period, the Prime Minister finally admitted that she did raise concerns with him directly in September and told him to back off. In fact, she and her staff did that at least 9 separate times over 4 months. She told the Privy Council clerk it was inappropriate to interfere with prosecutorial independence 14 times on the December 19 call alone, and Wernick said the Prime Minister was firm 4 times. The Prime Minister has caught himself in his own tangled web. He should tell the truth.
Here.
Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, to ensure that Canadians receive the truth, the Prime Minister waived solicitor-client privilege as well as cabinet confidence. Members that sit on the Justice Committee, they set parameters when it came to these allegations, and to ensure that Canadians could hear from themselves, the Prime Minister waived solicitor-client privilege as well as cabinet confidence. And that's why the facts are all on the table. They are all now public. What's interesting is the Conservatives continue to ask for more information, but the information's become quite repetitive and they refuse to actually pay attention to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister continues to mislead Canadians. On February 7th, he said that no one had raised concern with him with regard to his political interference to help SNC-Lavalin avoid criminal prosecution. But yesterday, here in the House of Commons, he finally admitted that he had actually heard the concerns raised by the former Attorney General. In this chamber, I am not allowed to call the Prime Minister a liar, but Canadians can think it. So why did he mislead Canadians? The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles knows that he cannot indirectly do what he cannot do directly here in the House. So what I would advise him to be cautious. The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, we know that Canadians need to know the truth, and that's exactly why the members who sit on the Justice Committee did their work to make sure that Canadians could hear the truth. The Prime Minister thus waived solicitor-client privilege and cabinet confidence for 5 weeks. And for 5 weeks, witnesses appeared before the committee and provided their testimony. All these facts are now public. We know that the Conservatives don't want to hear the facts, but they are public for Canadians to hear and to decide for themselves. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, I understand that the Government House Leader is doing her work by repeating the same thing every day, but cabinet confidence was limited and the witnesses requested by the opposition were refused. So no one on that side of the House wants to shed light on this and know the truth. The Honourable Prime Minister himself confirmed that the former Attorney General was telling the truth. 2 ministers, honest ministers, were kicked out for having protected the PM's image. Why did the Prime Minister mislead the Canadians? The Honourable Government House Leader. Every day, every question during question periods, well, the Conservatives are asking the same questions, and they can't understand why I provide the same answer. Mr. Speaker, If they ask the same questions, they'll receive the same answer, because the truth is the truth. And to make sure that Canadians can hear the truth, the Prime Minister did waive solicitor-client privilege and cabinet confidence. But we also know that the Conservatives are continue to do indirectly what they can't do directly.
Chilliwack Hope.
In February, the Prime